Here's a tiny issue I'd like to talk about. Pulse width modulation, or PWM, as Wikipedia would say, is a method of reducing the average power delivered by an electrical signal by effectively chopping it up into discrete parts. Better said, turning the device on and off really fast. So, what does that have to do with this channel? Displays. Well, most of them anyway. The thing is, PWM can cause discomfort, eye strain, headaches and migraines. Let's explain the mechanics and then show it live. As I've said, most displays use PWM. These types of displays have a backlight that is always on maximum brightness. In order to lower the brightness, we won't decrease the light intensity by reducing the voltage, but rather turn it off entirely. And then turn it on again. And repeat the cycle really quickly, up to the point where we can't see the flicker anymore. But our eyes can, which will cause the pupillary light reflex. Don't get it wrong, pupillary light reflex is a normal thing. Once light hits the retina, depending on the intensity of the light, the pupil diameter is increased or decreased via the sphincter and dilator muscles of the iris. This, of course, is a completely autonomous function, over which we have no control of, which is exactly the problem with PWM. Even though we don't see the light flickering, the eye does, and that excites the part of the nervous system, which in turn constantly causes contractions of the iris muscles. This can cause eye strain, which is caused by the iris muscles, and possibly headaches and migraines, because light is needed to activate the cone cells, which in turn help us have a clearer image, and the constant modification of input light might confuse the brain. Now, here are two examples. Display number 1. At maximum brightness, there is no PWM. Once the brightness is reduced even a bit, PWM occurs at about 200 Hz, which means that the display turns off and on about 200 times a second. This is what we can see, well, what the brain produces. However, this is what our eyes see. In my own experience, using this display with PWM causes me eye strain. Here we have display number 2. At maximum brightness, of course, there is no PWM, because there are no off cycles. Lowering the brightness below a certain threshold reveals PWM of over a few thousand Hz. This, for the average user, will not cause any problems, as what the eye can see is estimated to about 1000 different frames per second, not to be confused with what our brain will actually produce. Due to the relatively high frequency, most people will not have any issues with such displays. Some people, however, will still be sensitive even to this frequency, so they should take care. So, how can we reduce this effect? There are a couple of ways to do this. First, have a lot of ambient light. The stronger the ambient light is, the weaker the light intensity difference of the on and off cycle of the display will be. That means that being in a dark room is a very bad idea. Second, try to use your display further away from your eyes. The less of the display is in your vision, the weaker the neural impulse will be, thus reducing how much the iris muscles will actually work. Or simply use maximum brightness. Maximum brightness operates with no off cycles, thus fully eliminating PWM. Just be careful during the night if your display is bright. You can reduce brightness without inducing PWM with certain software. For example, AMD Radeon settings have a color profile, where you can reduce the light output, which works like an overlay as opposed to actually reducing the light production. This, however, will reduce contrast and make the colors appear bleak. Alternatively, get a monitor which doesn't utilize PWM. Google is your friend here. I hope this video has been useful to you and more videos will be coming soon. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below.